and welcome to Chat Central. Today we are talking to a Canadian athlete, a human rights activist, and an historian. He is an inspiration today because he has fought for his right of religious expression and challenged some of the rules in Canadian courts, winning an important victory for all Canadians. Please welcome Mr. Pardeep Nagra. Hi Pradeep, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for your time for DARPAN magazine. Now, Pradeep, before we actually get into your historic victory, we do want to talk a little bit about last night. You were here for the launch of Veerhood. So tell us a little bit about your collaboration and what is Veerhood exactly?
Sure. So Veerhood to me and to the organization is a movement. And the vehicle and tool that we're using is t-shirts. Now, someone might think, well, how can t-shirts be a movement? But I think when we create really unique designs, it creates a sense of identity, a sense of community, a sense of empowerment, and ultimately a sense of conversation.
Absolutely.
And really, that's where we're trying to move along this. So, for example, some of the t-shirts that we had launched last night, one had the quote, or numbers of 125,000, which we say in Punjabi, Savalak.
Savalak.
Now, as soon as we say Savalak, it means something special.
Yes.
And it connects us, and we're wearing heritage and inspiring heritage and sharing heritage. But it's empowering because we said that you, as an individual, your value, your worth, and your empowerment is that you are equivalent in both power and spirit to 125,000 people.
So meaningful.
There was another beautiful one that we launched. We are all Ik.
That again comes from our roots.
Our Guru Granth Sahib starts with the two words Ik Onkar. And so if the creator and the creation are one, it is incumbent on us as the creation to be one first and foremost amongst ourselves before we could even aspire to.
How wonderful.
I mean, we hear Sufi Qawwalis and stuff like that, and they say, Rab nu manana, pehla yaar nu mana.
Yeah.
Right? And so that means, first, get in tune with humanity to get closer to God.
That's so true. That is so true. Now, talking about 1990s, when you were competing for Canadian Boxing Championship, and you were barred for competing because of your beard.
Yeah.
What kind of impact did it have on you back then, and what triggered you, and why was it important for you to fight that discrimination?
Well, what triggered, first of all, me was responsibility. If I decide to walk away from something that was presented to me as an athlete to be barred before I can compete, then somebody else will have had to eventually walk through those doors. And so it's incumbent on me from a concept of responsibility to engage. Second of all, ultimately, this was not about Pardeep. This was about who we are as Canadians. When we define ourselves as individuals and as groups and as communities, we in turn are defining Canada. And even ultimately, when I challenged the Canadian Amateur Boxing Association to change the rules and regulations, it wasn't an exemption for Sikhs. It was an exemption for anybody through faith, practice, or otherwise who have to maintain a beard. And it could be a Sikh, it could be a Muslim, it could be a Jewish person, it could be a Rastafarian. And that ultimately it was to be inclusive. And so ultimately, when I did eventually get the right to compete, ultimately it's a victory for us as Canadians.
Absolutely.
Because it makes us more inclusive as a country.
That is so true. Now, there is an ongoing relationship, when we talk about it, between human rights and sports.
Yes.
What do you think needs to be done or needs to be addressed to take care of this issue? Because it is a sensitive one.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen maybe in future as well.
Yeah, always, yeah. And I think the best analogy I can use is a sports metaphor in of itself, that when it comes to human rights in sports, if you're sitting on the sidelines, you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
You have to be a participant.
Absolutely.
Sports is about participation.
That's true.
So you're either in
or you're out.
Or you're out. And if you're out, then you're part of the problem, not part of the solution. And so I think whether we're looking at equality for sports for women, funding, whether it's just looking for access to play sports, or whether it's playing the sports and being discriminated or marginalized or racialized in the experience of playing, or you can't play because you got a hijab on or a turban on or because of the beard. We always have to understand that human rights are really important,
Yes.
and that they should be protected at all times.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Now, you're also an executive director for the Sikh Heritage Museum in Canada. What kind of work does that involve?
It's a journey. I mean, I don't know if I actually call it work, because the more I'm involved with it, the more so-called work I do.
It's a part of your life.
The more it attaches me to my identity as a Canadian, and the more it attaches me to my identity as a Sikh in the diaspora and around the world. And we call ourselves the Sikh Heritage Museum of Canada, but our concept and principle is more than a museum. It's not about artifacts. We collect artifacts. We have phenomenal artifacts. We're a center of learning. And really, our purpose and primary goal and mission is to be a center of learning.
And educate everyone as well.
And educate people, inspire people, empower people. For young kids, if they now on Remembrance Day, they will know that some of the largest sacrifices for that poppy that we wear were
Yes.
people who look like us.
Yes.
Men who wore nothing more on their heads than turbans in World War I and II.
That's so true.
People who participated in World War I before Canada even entered the war.
Yeah.
Canada entered in 1915.
Yeah.
The Sikhs were already
And
there
it's
in
significant
France
facts,
in
yeah.
1914. And so sharing history, facts, Canada celebrating its 150th birthday next year.
Yes.
We have a history with Canada that dates back to 1809,
Wow.
with Charles Metcalfe signing the Treaty of Lahore with Ranjit Singh, and then him eventually coming to Canada, becoming the governor of Canada. And so we have great history, and we really want people to be able to appreciate, celebrate, share, and be comfortable with our history and heritage.
That's wonderful. Now, Pradeep, when we talk about the significant change in the history of Canadian sports, do you see that momentum going and this change coming in internationally as well, where men with beards will be allowed to compete in boxing championships and other sports as well?
For sure. You take each step at a time. In fact, during my case, I had to first challenge the Ontario Boxing Association, then the Canadian Amateur Boxing Association. And in fact, as part of our settlement, we encouraged Canadian Amateur Boxing Association to challenge the International Amateur Boxing Association. And they didn't do a good enough job, and I hope to get back on that issue with them to ask them, because the spirit of the Olympics is bringing the world together. We shouldn't be looking for sport to divide us.
That's so true.
And so it's incumbent for us to know that we want to continue to embrace human rights right across the board, locally, nationally, and internationally.
Absolutely.
And even that one day with effort and good work and goodwill, we'll get that accomplished as well.
Absolutely, I'm into that. Well, Pradeep, congratulations once again, and
Thank you.
so much for sharing those wonderful insights and your story with DARPAN viewers. On behalf of our magazine, we wish you all the best for your future endeavors.
Absolutely.
And before we let you go, though, is there a message for our viewers, though?
Well, the message is to be involved, and you might not know, but Hollywood has just made a movie about me.
Oh, really?
Yes.
We'll look forward to that. What is it called? Can we find out?
Absolutely. It's called Tiger.
Tiger.
And Oscar-nominated Mickey Rourke is playing my boxing coach. Janelle Parrish from Pretty Little Liars is going to be the lawyer in the movie.
That's huge.
It's huge, and we expect it to hopefully be accepted for TIFF. It's right now entered into the Toronto International Film Festival, and if it gets accepted, then the premiere will be in September, and then a worldwide launch afterwards. And so the message would be to come out and watch Tiger.
That is so exciting. I will tell all our viewers to come out and watch it, and good luck and best
thank
wishes.
you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching Chat Central.